everyone, welcome back to, guess what, it is, this time at least, a brand new episode of the Star Wars Time Show proper. And why do we say proper? Well, that's because it's the Friday show. And that's where you got Matt strapped in after a few beers, and Nick obviously has been meditating all night, and he's ready to bring harmony to the cast as Matt tries to tear it down, brick by fucking brick. But we're here, and we've got plenty of Star Wars news topics to discuss. Why? Well, that's because I'm lazy, and I decided to give myself a break last week when we usually would record. Went to the beach with the family. It was fantastic. So I don't want to hear your shit. But we have a little bit of a build-up here of Star Wars news. Think about if you're a guy and maybe you can only use your left hand, you've let it go for a few weeks. That's basically where we're at right now, and that may also be where I'm at in real life, but that's for another day, another cast. The moral of the story here is, my friends, don't break your dominant hand if you're a man. It's bad. It's bad.
It's not
bad.
A lot of fun.
I mean,
not a fun
one of
way
the
to
worst
spend.
aspects is the self-relieving aspect. And I'm talking taking care of the little guy downstairs. Just doesn't work with your offhand. You take it to the bank. I'm telling you right now, you can sit there and say, oh, it's like a stranger. No, it's not. It's not. I would say it's almost equivalent to having like a family member doing it. It's awful.
Oh my
Okay?
God.
It's awful. But let's get into real life now. I know Nick's kind of like going, what the fuck's this guy talking about? But that's what we do. I mean, we get on here. Yeah, we want to talk Star Wars, but we also talk about real life. You know, we're just two guys, two Star Wars fans, casually sitting around some mics, just talking about life and why we love Star Wars. And sometimes you're going to get some dumb shit from me, or maybe Nick, if we ever get him banged up on some sauce. You never know. But we do. I mean, in all honesty, we have plenty to talk about tonight. And there's some great stuff. I mean, the Vanity Fair article came out last week. It dropped facts about the Rise of Skywalker plot. So we're going to cover some of those. We've got our top 5 segment, which is going to be coming at the end of the cast. We may talk about a mashup. We've also got some stuff dealing with Rey's parentage, a rumor that popped up around that. We've got some issues with Matt Smith. So like I said, there's plenty to discuss, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to lead off with a story that dropped last week that Nick covered, and it involved a period of time in the Star Wars saga that I think most fans would love to see take shape in a live-action setting, and that is the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, so Knights of the Old Republic is definitely the one of the best Star Wars stories ever told off of the big screen. It could even compete with some of the big screen movies for its storytelling aspects, its characters, and everything else. It's a fantastic, fantastic game, fantastic story. And now, exclusively from BuzzFeed News, we learned that Laeta Kalogridis, the writer, the creator, first off.
Hey, hold on. How about Nick's fucking pronunciation right there?
I know. I
did you look that shit up? Did you get a hooked on phonics for that name? Because that was pretty damn good.
I didn't, but I
think you're on too. I mean, I think the first name's definitely Laeta.
Yeah, Laeta, and then
Kalogridis. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Kalogridis. Not an easy name to say.
That's why you keep him around. He's also a linguist.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kalogridis. It might be Kalogridis. Who knows?
He can speak Bausch every once in a while too, if he wants to.
You can catch me in the Scum and Villainy bars every now and then.
Shoot.
So, out of BuzzFeed News, exclusive from them, we learned that Laeta is working on a script for Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, but is she a Star Wars fan?
Is she a Star Wars fan? Let me tell you something right now. I'm just going to give you guys a rundown of Laeta Kalogridis.
Okay, exactly. That's why I said that, Nick. So please drop it on him.
Yeah, her credentials. So this woman is the creator of Netflix TV series Altered Carbon. One of the creators.
Loved it, by the way. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's fantastic.
Wrote Alita:
Have you
Battle
watched
Angels.
Altered Carbon?
I have. It's a fantastic show.
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible television series. Again,
it's a
like
great
Netflix.
concept. It was executed well. It's very good.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, watch it.
But
especially
honestly,
if you're a
dude,
Star Wars
that's
fan.
not even remotely her best credit. There's a credit on here right now that everyone should just be like, okay, we believe she's legit. And that's the Martin deal.
Yeah, exactly. So you go to Shutter Island, Martin Scorsese.
Right. Okay.
Writing a Martin Scorsese film. Thank you.
There you go. Okay. Anyone, I don't care how young you are, if you are super young, look up Martin Scorsese. Look at the movies he's made. Look at the awards he's won. Look at the adulations for the actors and actresses that have worked in his movies. He is by far one of the probably top 3 directors of the last 40, 50 years in terms of the impacts his movies have had.
Easily.
On cinema and probably even bigger on society.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, Martin Scorsese, is the director that all directors strive to be. I mean, he is in the pantheon with people like James Cameron, Steven Spielberg,
Lucas. He's up there, if not beyond a lot of these
He's
guys.
on the fucking Mount Rushmore of directors.
Exactly,
right
100%.
So like,
he may be the lead face, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that
if we're talking Star Wars land, we're going to still throw up our homeboy.
Georgie boy, yeah.
Right.
He's up there. But I mean, Martin Scorsese is undoubtedly one of the best directors of our time and even maybe the time before us. But I mean, yeah, so she wrote Shutter Island, a fantastic Martin Scorsese film that was nominated for Oscars, as all of his films are. And if you want to look at her geek cred, Alita Battle Angel just came out this year. She was the writer of that. She wrote
Good movie, made money.
Yeah, Terminator Genesis. She wrote
Honestly,
that.
I did not hate that movie. I know a lot of people kind of discount the Terminator sequels, but honestly, if you just watch the one that Cameron's involved in again, you have to go, you know what? I don't know if these fucking other sequels were that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's so like good stuff. And then if you look at her writing credits right now on IMDb, for all of you anime and geek people out there, she's now attached as a writer for Sword Art Online, the TV series. Like,
but is she a fan?
So is she a Star Wars fan? I mean, there's nothing that I can tell you about her. I don't know her personally. There's nothing that says she's not a Star Wars fan. I can tell you that. But based off of this, the types of movies that she writes, and it looks like where her interests lie, I can guarantee you.
Yeah, bro.
That
she lives in the sci-fi arena. I mean, that's all she does. I mean, Alexander's the only movie she's written that isn't science fiction.
Yeah, science fiction. Or fantasy,
I mean,
so
Shutter Island, sure. I mean, that's more
kind of like
crime thriller type of deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some like horror, like.
Isn't there? Yeah, there's like some. Is there some supernatural stuff?
I was gonna say
involved?
like some supernatural horror aspects to it a little bit.
So
too,
again,
so
she lives in the fictional land.
Yeah. So based off of her credits, and then just the success of everything that she's worked on, I'm very excited to see what she can do with Knights of the Old Republic.
I can almost contend, Nick, if her name was Bob Kalogridis, people probably wouldn't have cared.
No, not at all.
And that's the fucking sad aspect of life right now, is that the fact that she's a woman. I think that's why people are questioning her credentials to make or write these movies, and it's just bonkers to me. So I guess my question for you, dude, is who's directing these motherfuckers? Are these the Gott brothers or the Gott duo's films, or is this something else?
Yeah, I know. That's the interesting question that I brought up in the piece that I wrote, is that we already know that the GOT bros, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, they are supposed to be leading their own trilogy. I don't know if that means writing them all themselves. I don't know if they're going to be directing.
You would think so, considering that is their profession, right?
Yeah.
Because these guys are writers by trade. I know they ended up directing multiple episodes of Gott, but they're writers.
Yeah, they're storytellers. So
exactly.
I feel like this is, if she's just started, if Laeta has just started writing the script or scripts, because we don't know. I mean, we don't know if they're going to go for a trilogy, a two-parter or a single Knights of the Old Republic movie. But if she just started writing the script, then you can probably expect that it would take, a little bit longer than 2 years to complete just a full write-up because you still have to get it passed by by Disney, Lucasfilm. You're gonna have to work with if it is for the Got Bros, she has to work with them to make sure that everything is on the level with them. So I'm gonna say that this is something that could either come after their trilogy, or maybe Disney's just kind of building their portfolio here for Star Wars. Maybe they're getting stuff ready to see, like, hey, if Return Star Wars 2021 or 2022 hits, then we have something in the pipe ready to go in case we want to put out something fast.
Well, I mean, didn't we, or wasn't it revealed? They did line up. Okay, yeah, we're doing Star Wars. We're taking a fucking 3-year break because we're assholes, and then we're gonna do one every other year up through 2026. But didn't they say that? Yeah, we are going beyond that.
Yeah, they're gonna go beyond 2026. I mean, they said that they had Star Wars for another decade at least. Now that
we just talked about the 3-year break again, I'm already pissed off.
Just depressed. Yeah.
It's. Whatever. We've already done this cast, so I'm just going to stop myself there. But I want to headbutt Bob Iger right now.
I know. I just started.
Just look at, hey, Bob, how you doing? Bah! Like right in his fucking face and break his teeth or something.
Just a very odd decision. But yeah, I mean, I really do think that Laeta's stuff could be, if she stays on as a writer through the whole project, I think that they could be building it.
Could it be Disney Plus material? I mean, Iger said he doesn't really want movies on there. I mean,
honestly,
I just find this odd, especially with the Got Bros, and that's who we kind of thought would be doing KOTOR or Old Republic stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because they are writers by trade. Why would they bring in another writer unless they are just going to be directors? But I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be kind of how Ryan handled TLJ, or if he gets his new trilogy, where they kind of create and execute.
Yeah, I agree there. So I want to see I don't want to see Knights of the Old Republic on Disney Plus. Let me put it that way. Like, I would be happy, yes, if we got it and it was on Disney Plus, but the way
what if it was like an actually fleshed out series? Would you be okay? Or you just want a quick shot 2-hour movie? I don't want a Game of Thrones on my Star Wars.
I mean, ideally, I would like a trilogy, because I don't think that you could do it properly with one movie. So I guess you're right. The way to do it is really either in a long-form television series like Game of Thrones, or in a proper movie trilogy like, we've seen with all of the proper Star Wars trilogies.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, Nick, this era needs at minimum 6 to 7 hours of storytelling.
Yeah.
And that would be your movie trilogy, or you could increase it to 10 plus with a series.
Exactly. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to know that this is happening. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy had come out before this announcement, right after Celebration, and said that, they were kicking around ideas for Knights of the Old Republic material. She didn't say whether it was going to be movies or Disney Plus, but now that we see that we have a very seasoned writer, a very seasoned fantasy and sci-fi writer and creator working on this, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. I'm really excited to see, where this goes, if she's going to stay on the project. And I'm just happy that the fucking words Knights of the Old Republic and writer, have appeared, and we're not just pulling shit out of our asses like we have been. Because the Weiss and Benioff stuff, we keep saying, Knights of the Old Republic, we haven't heard anything. That's just speculation. That's what we want. But to know that Laeta Kalogridis, a really seasoned sci-fi fantasy writer, is working on that now for
I don't know, man.
Disney.
She is a girl.
She's a lady, but also the main character.
Isn't that just ridiculous? It makes me feel creepy to even say that. I'm doing it sarcastically.
It's a little weird.
But this is real life, my friends.
I know, but
there are literally fans out there questioning her credentials, probably because she's a woman.
She has written things that I wish I could write. I fancy myself a storyteller every now and then, but to know, to see the things that she's written and the success that she's had in her career. I mean, literally creating one of the best, I don't want to say, maybe not one of the best, but a very, very good Netflix television series. a sci-fi television series, like that's dream stuff. So
Of course, but like I said earlier, I mean, to me, the validation here is that Martin himself either bought her script or wanted to loop in or asked her to come in to do it.
yeah, exactly. Like,
I mean, this is a guy that's made some of the most iconic films ever in Hollywood.
so she was the sole adapter of the novel. So Dennis Lehane was the novelist for Shutter Island, and then Laeta,
she wrote the screenplay.
She sole writer of the screenplay. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, again, just fucking incredible, fantastic work by this woman. So, yeah. So that's the news out there. Make sure to look up her resume on IMDb. If you've never seen any of the movies that she's associated with, definitely worth a watch for sure. Shutter Island, Alita, Battle Angel. And I mean, like Matt said, if you like sci-fi fantasy movies and you're not like beholden to the original 3, or some people look at it as the original 2 Terminator movies, go give Terminator Genesis a watch. It's not bad. It's better than Terminator Salvation. I'll say that.
I mean, in the end, dude, I'll take any type of fucking nonsense sci-fi movie. I don't care. I like the Terminator movies as is didn't really bother me. I'd honestly say the one with Claire Danes and the other bootleg dude playing Homeboy.
Yeah, that was Terminator.
John is probably the worst.
Terminator
3.
I
actually think Salvation and Genesis are better than 3.
Yeah, 3 was real bad. 3 was.
But I'm still someone that when it comes to fiction, I don't care. I mean, I'm still going to have a good time. I've never understood people, unless the movie is really just garbage.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, my God. It's like, dude, we're watching a movie about fucking robots that wear skin and shit. Who cares?
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on, grow the fuck
like,
up.
really, how upset can that movie honestly make you? Who gives a shit?
And also, I like, real quick before we move on from this, I mentioned this to Matt off cast, and we'll bring it up. If people out there really think that you need to be a Star Wars fan to write a Star Wars movie, the guy who came in at the end of Rogue One to quote unquote save it, to like give it its pop that made it one of the best Star Wars movies out there, the ones that people love, like that was Tony Gilroy, and Tony Gilroy hates Star Wars. Like, he's literally like, this shit's for kids. Like, you can read a fucking interview with him after he finished writing. He's like,
he's such an asshole. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this, I think, before we made our shift over to just SWT. I mean, this is a guy I would honestly probably punch in real life if I've ever met him.
Gilroy is a dick.
He's an arrogant, cocky asshole that thinks Star Wars is beneath him, and he's a god for coming in to grace it with his presence.
But then again, he wrote probably one of the best scenes that we've ever seen in Star Wars, and that was that fucking Vader hallway scene. Like, that wasn't in the movie when Gareth Edwards had finished. Like, he came in and he reworked that ending, and that ending is what everybody was like, holy fuck, like, that's some heavy shit. Like, and that's what everybody likes. So you don't need to be a Star Wars fan to write good Star Wars. You just, need to know what you're doing in the movie business. And Gilroy knows that, and Laeta knows that as well. So, Matt, let's move on now, and let's get to the meat of this podcast.
Let's get into our Tross shit, because there was a bunch of Tross that came out. If you're not familiar with the term Tross, you're an idiot. It's the Rise of Skywalker, dummies. Get it? Ha 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 ha.
TROS.
But anyway, sorry. I'm a little extra special tonight, my friends. Just bear with me. I'm not saying I'm extra drunk. It's just been a few weeks since Nick and I have done this, so I'm kind of charged up.
Yeah, energy.
But we got a whole bunch of fucking Tross stuff. I mean, obviously the Vanity Fair, but Nick's gonna go ahead and lead with one that he put out this week. This has been a curious kind of story thread that has persisted throughout the Rise of Skywalker, and I don't think it's done yet, and I think this move is the most curious aspect of this saga. So Nick, go ahead and let them know what we're talking about.
Yeah, so for you guys out there who have been following the casting of Rise of Skywalker from day one, like we have, you know that Matt Smith, the Matt Smith that played Doctor Who in the Doctor Who television series, was cast and announced along with the full reveal early on.
Like officially.
Yeah,
this was official at one point in time.
By StarWars.com. Like, they put out the cast list. They were like, here's Naomi Ackie. She's going to be joining us. Here's Richard E. Grant. He's joining us. Here's Matt Smith. He's joining us. So, like, he was listed.
Dominic what's his
Monaghan.
name?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, all of these people were announced for these movies along with the returning cast. But now it seems like Matt Smith has found himself removed from the official cast list for The Rise of Skywalker. And this can be found on the official Star Wars website. When you go to, like, the casting page, he's no longer there. Like, he's just not a part of it anymore. So what
the fuck do you think's going on?
Yeah,
here, dude?
like, there's a lot of.
I mean, do you think it is because he is tied to the whole Palpatine return? Or do you think he legitimately is gone?
The way that I look at it is that I don't know if Lucasfilm would go as far as to remove his name from the cast list just to shoot down a rumor. Like, I don't know if they would do that. Like, so in my mind, would likely happen.
I get it, man. It's the whole thing. Like I said, is just it's odd.
Yeah.
Like, this whole saga around Matt Smith and Tross, it's weird.
Yeah, like we hadn't heard anything about his character at all. We even found out about Richard E. Grant's character. We'll talk about that later. But, like, for Matt Smith, we hadn't heard anything. Then there was a rumor that came out. And if you haven't heard about this, we'll kind of, spoiler alert. I'll give it a few seconds. Spoiler alert. Come back in 2 minutes. Spoiler alert. All right. So there was a rumor that was out there for Making Star Wars that he was going to play this dark side acolyte that would become possessed by Palpatine at the end of the movie.
He's basically the key for Palpatine's return.
Yeah. So this rumor came out, got a lot of traction, and people started to really buy into it. And then that was about 2 weeks ago. And then now, this week, StarWars.com removes him from the official cast list. They've never even mentioned anything about the rumor or, discussed it in any way like a rumor was discussed that we'll talk about soon. So for all intents and purposes, it seems like Matt Smith has been completely removed from this film, either by choice of the Lucasfilm people to try to quash this rumor, or the more likely scenario is that Matt Smith was cast, did film parts, and then we know that we're finished. And we know that JJ and the team are in the editing phase of this movie. So it could be that Matt Smith's character just hit the cutting room floor in its entirety.
But here's the thing. I even think then, like, when that happens, which it happens all the time in movies, you still get a credit. Like, just because you were cut, you still filmed and you did work by the union, you still get credit.
I mean,
like, by SAG, I believe he would still get credit.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, I would have to ask my stunt buddies and how SAG works, but knowing their union, if he did anything for the production, he's getting credit.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting then. So that shoots down that theory. I mean, I really can't think of any other reason he would be removed from the cast list then, unless it was just
I know, dude, it's weird. It's really weird. It's almost like he broke something in a contract.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's like, how? Because you look, anyone that's ever asked him, "Are you in Star Wars?" He's basically said, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, he hasn't said anything about it. Like,
and as you said, this was an official Lucasfilm posting. The guy was in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Returning cast members: Daisy, Adam, John, Oscar, Lapita, Domhnall Gleeson, Kelly, Junis, Billy Lord. Joining the cast: Naomi Ackie, Richard E. Grant, Kerry Russell, and that's it. Like, and then you have Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, Billy D. Like, he's not in it anymore. Like,
and I'm also going, like, the fact that they tease that Palpatine's returning at Celebration. Why are they so secretive about it now? If Matt Smith is involved with making that come to be,
yeah,
it's like, who cares? You've already let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, like it's not.
Who gives a shit if he is a part of Palpatine's return?
Yeah, I mean, like essentially, you're just removing him as a plot device. Like I just don't understand what could happen,
dude. I don't even know where to go with this. It's so strange.
Yeah,
it's just strange from top to bottom. I mean, the dude was officially cast. Rumors came out about what he could be playing. Nothing was commented on. He said he's not even in the movie, and now officially Lucasfilm removes him from the movie. So, as you said, I think it's unprecedented, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
because I believe even if you acted and you got cut, you're still getting paid. You're still getting a credit.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't see how this could happen. I mean, there were rumors.
I mean, I tell you right now, my buddy, he did Thanos scenes for Endgame. He did Korg scenes for Endgame. Most of them were cut. He still made a lot of money, and he's still going to get residuals.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they, like, discussed with him, like, hey, look, there's this thing going around out here, and we don't like it, so we're just going to remove you from the cast list for the time being.
I don't know.
It's
so fucking odd, man. The whole thing's odd.
And the thing is like there've been other rumors about unannounced characters. I mean, like Carrie Russell's character had rumors about her, and before she, it was officially revealed that she was this,
Yeah, I mean, at one point in time, she was basically Leia, Rey, any female's mom, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
She was the mom of everyone.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, like again, this is a very, very odd circumstance.
It's fucking crazy, dude. It really is. I don't get the motivation from either angle here. It's like, what does Disney get from removing him? I mean, are they really going to reshoot an entire character?
I mean, what happens if
because someone guessed that he may be playing Palpatine's vessel?
Okay, so is this even possible? I'm going to throw this out there. What happens if they cast him? Like they said, hey, you got this part. You're going to play this guy. It's going to be great. And then JJ comes in. He starts filming. He gets into the groove, and then he realizes, like, we really don't have space for this. Like, I thought that this character was going to work. It doesn't work. Sorry, Matt, we're just not going to film you. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, could that have happened?
I mean, I guess I think that could be the only explanation.
I mean, that way, so the reveal would be legit. Like, they actually thought he would have been there, and then he just didn't film anything. So, I mean, it's an interesting, like, a lot of the rumors that were going around is, like, he was going to play young Palpatine in flashbacks. And I could see that. Knowing Palpatine.
Oh, dude, he's got the look.
Yeah.
I mean, they could easily, with some makeup, fucking form him into a young Ian. I mean, he's got, like, the sunken eyes, especially if we're just going full Emperor look.
Yeah. So if like that was JJ's intention going in, but then he got into the swing and he was like, it's just not gonna fit anymore, then they remove him, and then they could drop him without having any kind of union disputes or anything like that. So that's the only other thing I could think of.
Yeah, it's bonkers. I mean, I've said it over and over. It's weird. I mean, we're just gonna have to see how it plays out, but it sounds like he's gone.
Yeah, I mean,
for whatever reason. I mean, I'm telling you right now, legally in Hollywood, they're not just going to terminate an actor's credit for fun.
Yeah, it's not how things work over there, apparently.
There's no way. I mean, if he did anything in the movie, there's no way they come out and say he's gone from the credits.
Yeah, and look,
there's no way.
Even if he does hit the cutting room floor, he still gets that footage to show in auditions and stuff.
Yes,
like,
that is the point I've been trying to make. You're exactly right.
Yeah, so like you have the right.
If he did anything on camera, he's getting a fucking credit.
Yeah, and I mean, like you can even go on you can go on IMDb and he's not even there. I mean, like he's pretty much scrubbed from the whole thing.
Oh, they just deleted him from the entire internet. Like the guy's never acting again.
Yeah.
Disney and Lucasfilm are like, "Fuck you! You fucked up our fucking Star Wars. You're dead."
Yeah, I know. He's like, he may never work.
At this point, can someone please check on Matt Smith?
Is he alive?
Still alive?
Yeah, I know.
Like, is he even alive at this point?
I mean, we don't even we have everybody else's character everybody else on there along with the characters that were announced for them. So now Carrie's character is there. Dominic Monaghan's character has not been announced, and he's on the cast list on IMDb, but just has no character name. So, like, it is. I mean, we've been going on about this for a little while, but it's just a very odd circumstance. We want you guys out there to like.
Yeah, I mean, it's batshit stuff.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. So, if you were,
I mean, it's better than hear about directors getting fired mid-production, and we're gonna try to limp shit along. But it's very odd.
Yeah,
it really is.
Very much so. So. So if you were looking forward to seeing Matt Smith in this movie, he may or may not be in it anymore. So you just have to
keep your eyes peeled for a TARDIS in the background.
Yeah,
I guess.
Just blink it in.
All right, so moving on to our next trust story, and this one honestly had a lot more pizzazz to it earlier in the week, but Pablo Hidalgo, part of the story group at Lucasfilm, may have sucked a lot of the wind out of its sails. So who knows where this is going to go? But essentially, the homies over at Making Star Wars on one of their sub-podcasts, I forget the actual name of the cast, but they talked about another rumor that Jason has been fed, and it dealt with Rey's parentage. And it was quite interesting, and honestly, it was a rumor that exploded the fandom instantly. I don't even know where Nick's feelings are at on this rumor yet. We'll kind of get into this because we didn't really have a chance to kind of sit down and talk about our takes on it. But here it is. Here was the rumor. So essentially, in regards to Rey's parentage, according to this rumor, Rey is Han's daughter, but not Leia's daughter. So how'd this happen? Well, when Han and Leia were estranged, which we know they were, I mean, this is canon, Han knocked some lady up and had Rey, and apparently Leia didn't know about it, but maybe Ben knew about it, and that's why Ben was so wonky and this, that, and the other thing, and that's why he ended up being shipped off to Luke, and then he became Kylo. So for all intents and purposes, the rumor here was that Han, while with Leia, when they were on a down period, went out, got himself some strange, and had a Rey. And he probably didn't know about it. It's probably like some deadbeat stuff. So first things first, Nick, let's just approach it from the concept of this rumor. How did you process it? Are you with some of the people who are like, oh my God, Disney is just wanting to fuck this shit up right from the get-go. How dare you fucking tarnish the character of Han fucking Solo, a known scumbag. How dare you make him look like a scumbag? Or were you like, you know, if you really think about it, in the headspaces that Leia was in, if she was training with her brother and dealing with the galaxy, and just the character of Han who begrudgingly kind of became a good guy, could you see when the two were separated, Han maybe diddling around a little bit?
I mean,
so
yeah.
What was your take?
It's definitely not. It's not hard to believe from the Han perspective. Like Han, I don't think would have any
good.
bones.
So you're
about
not you're not a nut job.
No, yeah, like he wouldn't have any bones about. Like you said, he is a scoundrel. He is a, you know, an underworld kid. We saw that in Solo. Now, obviously, you know, in the two instances of life that we've seen Han in, he has been kind of, you know, in the first one he was, you know, really stuck on to Kira, and then in the original trilogy he was really stuck on to Leia. So, you know, but that doesn't say.
No, you're right,
you know,
dude. When it comes down to it, Han can be a really good guy when a woman's involved.
Yeah, and you never.
Outside that, I mean, let's just break down his character, dude. In A New Hope, all he wanted to do was get away. If it wasn't for Chew fucking Baca, I contend there's no way Han comes back to save the day.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Chewbacca's the one that made him feel like a piece of shit. Okay, let's go to Empire Strikes Back. The beginning. What did Han want to do? Get the fuck out of Dodge. His only concern was getting away from Echo Base.
Yeah, he's like, look, I got to go pay this bounty on my head off, so I'll see you fuckers later. Like,
the only reason he stayed is because he knew they were getting attacked by the Empire, and he knew that the princess was not going to get out safe.
yeah.
So he took it upon himself because he loved her to get her out.
And
so, I mean, the basically, until he was frozen in carbonite, he still is ultimately looking out for his own desires.
yeah, and even the downtime between 6 and 7, we know that like he wanted to go, like he wasn't comfortable being in this life of a monogamous husband and father. Like he didn't want to do it. Like he wanted to go back out. He wanted to smuggle. He wanted to live that life again, which is why the relationship between him and Leia was so strained.
Right, and it wasn't just Han's fault. Like, we're not trying to cast Han as a deadbeat dad or just a bad man. I believe it was also explained that Leia was highly conflicted too because she could not pull away from
the resistance,
galactic politics.
Yeah, exactly. So
that was her life, and that was his life. That's why they're such interesting characters when they're paired together, because they are truly yin and yang. I mean, they are the epitome of opposites attract. She's all about law and order and doing the right thing. He's all about skirting under the law and how much can he bend the rules to benefit himself.
Yeah. So those two, it's a perfect example of a marriage that was probably destined to fail. I mean,
so I'm getting from you that you're not in the camp out there screaming at the top of your lungs, you better not do this, you better not ruin another character's growth, god damn it, this Han would never fucking do this shit, what the fuck, you fucking idiots, I'm gonna boycott this shit right out of the fucking gate.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not in that group. It would fit along with Han's kind of character and character development. What I do think would be odd about it, though, is that, like, the way that it would play in the story, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know how it would play. I don't know if they would bring in, like, the mother in some way, because is the mother just a throwaway now? Like,
well, I guess, like, some of the angle people were making is like, well, then this would make Kylo 100% right. You know, your parents very well could have been drunks.
Yeah, both of them, Han and the woman.
They were saying, I also read that Han's initial introduction in TFA was supposed to be him drinking in a bar.
I mean, if that's confirmed, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, it could be. It could,
and it also plays into Kylo. Even in TFA, he said to Rey, like, you know, you look at Han, you think he's great, but he's like, if you knew the full story, he's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
So I'm definitely in the camp going, like, do I want this to happen? I'd almost rather Rey just be anonymous at this point, if this is where we're going. But if this is where we're going, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to see.
I do narratively think it could work, but in the end, Nick, there's no point in even worrying about it, because little short chubby Pablo came out and basically said to a fan, it doesn't fit with the timeline. Han and Leia were together up until about 5 years before TFA.
Yeah, and Rey was 19 in TFA, so there's no way that he could have gotten a woman pregnant after he left Leia and then also had that kid be Rey. There's just not enough time. So
right, it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So but then again,
because I mean, unless Han was literally, you know, banging in a period that hasn't been explored yet. I mean, maybe in the books, I guess the period might have been explored. It doesn't quite line up, at least to the cinematic narrative.
No, yeah, absolutely not. And, you know, that kind of quashes some other rumors and speculation that's been out there too, this 5-year time period. To know that Han and Leia were together up until 5 years before TFA is pretty big, because, you know, some of...
See, I even question that. I'm sure he's right. I mean, I hope he's right. He's on the fucking story group, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But where the fuck does that come from? Is that from the Aftermath books?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it anywhere. If there are people out there who have read, who are listening, let us know if that's been out there.
But dude, I'm being serious. At least to me, in the way TFA's played out, I felt like Han and Leia hadn't seen each other for at least a decade.
Yeah, it had been a while. I mean, but that's the thing is, like, you know, that essentially, your only other thing, I mean, like, that kind of squashes the whole Han and Leia are her parents angle anyway, unless they both just played it like geniuses, that they didn't reveal that they were her parents in TFA. Because if she's...
See, I still think it could work for them still.
It could.
Timeline, this, that, and the other thing. I mean, who cares if she's 19 or not? I mean, they literally could have had her right when shit was breaking down when Ben was 10. I still, like, I question Pablo's 5 years thing. I mean, at least the snippets I've read, it seemed like Han and Leia basically were on the rocks since Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, they.
I mean, there might have been like a good 3 or 5 years after that, but ever since then, it's been up and down.
Yeah, I mean, because Leia probably wanted to insert herself back into the galactic politics as soon as possible.
Right. So, I mean, and if you figure Ben's and Rey's age, I mean, yes, they could have had Rey when Ben was around 10.
Yeah, and if Ben was already off with, I mean, we don't know how long he was with Uncle Luke. We don't know where he was, if he was somewhere
like
else.
I said, this is probably pulling it out of my nipples, but I'm almost positive that Ben was sent with Luke around when he was 10 or 11.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, and if that's the case, then it still holds up that Han and Leia can be her parents. But
the one thing I was like when I read this, like, okay, whatever. Is it perfect? No. Does it make sense? I think it could, yes. Clearly, it's going to piss off the nuts. So at this point, I almost hope it's not true, just so we don't have to deal with another 2 or 3 years of fucking idiots bitching about dumb shit.
Yeah,
like we've dealt with TLJ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird theory. Like, it's a weird theory because I feel like Han being her father is an important part, but I guess like if you're going to reveal the father, I would want to know who the mom is for some reason. I don't know. I mean, like, it may not make a damn bit of difference.
You're also going to get the people like, well, if it's just Han, how the fuck is Rey so superpowered?
Yeah, that's true.
And my point to that is like, well, I'm pretty sure that's what they tried to set up in the TLJ. It was like, listen, I know we've kind of made a big deal that Skywalkers are like the dominant Force users out there, but have the rest of you idiots forgot about the prequels?
Yeah, I mean, there were a ton.
I mean, let's not even worry about Old Republic. I mean, the prequels are at least canon. Do you guys not remember a arena full of fucking sword-waving assholes?
Yeah, like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
They're not all Skywalkers.
So, yeah.
Do you remember Qui-Gon Jinn? By the way, do you guys remember this guy called Yoda?
Yeah, great.
Do you guys remember this guy called Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Mace Windu. So many.
Oh, yeah, that guy Mace Windu or Ki-Adi Mundi. Oh, hey, guess what? They had Force powers.
Yeah, all of them.
Isn't that fucking crazy,
All
Nick?
of them did. That's so cool.
These guys, they're Jedi Masters, and they had Force powers, and their name wasn't Skywalker. What the fuck, dude?
It's very confusing how that can happen.
I mean, dude, what the fuck? What are we going to do?
I don't know. My whole Star Wars has been ruined.
They're not Skywalkers, man. You can't be a powerful Jedi unless you're Skywalker.
Oh, man. Now I have to rethink my whole theory, my whole movie.
But we all forget that fucking Yoda has been around for 900 years.
Yeah. So
it's just like, I mean, people are just, it's like selective memory to fit their own narrative.
Yeah. But like Matt said, this is really shot down now because Pablo Hidalgo basically came out and said that, like, no, this isn't true.
And as I said, I'm okay with it, but I ultimately don't want it to happen just based on the reaction this week.
Yeah,
I want to try to avoid as much nonsense around 9 as possible so people can possibly move on with their Star Wars lives.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to have episode 9 here in 7 months, and then we're going to have no Star Wars movies for 3 years.
Right. As much as people have bitched that they don't want sanitized Star Wars, that's all people want.
Yeah, they just want it
sanitized Star Wars.
You want it sanitized your own way. Like
this is what people want: a white guy as the winner, the leader, the powerful guy, and his name has to be a Skywalker.
So
outside of that, most people can't fucking handle new Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to see if people like that play the video games because none of the main characters are Skywalkers. Anyway.
What do you mean, dude? How could they be Jedi then?
It's a weird thing, storytelling.
Well, when people say that, I just look at them and I go, you know what? You don't even fucking know what you're talking about. You can't even be a Star Wars fan if that's your fucking comment.
Yeah, just real.
Fucking idiots. Did you ever hear of fucking Yoda? That's all you have to say.
Yoda, yeah.
Did you ever hear of Yoda?
The one who trained Luke Skywalker? Oh, well. Anyway, we got a big piece coming up here, and Matt.
Now we got the big boy coming here.
You covered this. So this comes straight out of Vanity Fair, and Vanity Fair is lucky enough to get all of the major Star Wars exclusives before they drop into theaters.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
So
it happens every film. They bring out Annie, and Annie being a fake photographer myself, obviously she's a legend. She's essentially what I would be if I shot real people. She's mostly portraits and moments versus staging action sequences. But she's a legend, and she was the photographer for this big write-up, Nick, that dropped last week, or by the time you guys are listening, this will be 2 weeks old. So you've probably at least read it, seen some of the pictures. But what we want to do is to cover now, because of this article and what we've learned since Celebration, we now have for you Star Wars fans, 11, that's 1-1, concrete, take it to the bank facts about the plot of The Rise of Skywalker.
yeah, and
Okay, Nick, so we now know. I mean, we've gone literally in March to not knowing the fucking title. We now know the title, we've seen some footage, and we also know 11 concrete facts about the plot.
and really, that's all that we've been waiting for so long, is just to know something. We saw all of these leaks. We saw that poster that has all these characters we had never heard about before, and everybody wanted information. And now we're finally getting it, and that means that we're inching ever closer to the release. So Matt, why don't you take us through this list and give us a little bit of information on where we're going to be going, who we're going to be seeing, and the events that we may walk through in the Rise of Skywalker.
Right, not a problem, Nick. I can do that for you because I'm a nice guy. So like I said, we got 11 concrete details now about the facts. And the first one here is we now know, excuse me, that we're getting at least 2 new planets. And these planets are going to be, and this is my best pronunciation until we hear it in film, but Pisana and Kijimi.
Yep.
So Pisana is the desert planet we've been seeing. So that planet, Nick and I are wondering, is this Jakku? Is this Tatooine? Is this something new? Well, it's something new. It's Pisana. It's described as, obviously, it's a desert planet. This is the Wadi Rum Jordan location shots that you've seen. And it's going to be home to another fact we're going to talk about, some of the new aliens we're going to meet in Tross. But it's described as being on the edge of the known galaxy, which is interesting, Nick, because we've obviously heard a lot of things about the unknown regions, the unknown galaxy, if you will, kind of described in this sequel trilogy. Even in Star Wars Resistance, Poe and Kaz took some trips to the unknown region. So it sounds like Pisana is sitting on the edge here, which makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense that our heroes are probably going to be there. Our antagonists are probably going to be there. So they're probably going to be there for a very important reason.
Yeah, I mean, we know that, we've seen Naomi Ackie's character there, so she's going to play a big part of it. And then also, if we, kind of getting down this list, like you mentioned, there's another group that we may see on Pisana, and
we're gonna see him on Pisana. I actually think Naomi's character is not on Pisana.
So she's on a different desert planet then.
Right. I think she's gonna be on the jungle, maybe Kijimi. Pisana, clearly, that's where we see the awesome opening sequence, the teaser there. It's where we saw kind of these guys zipping around on speeder bikes. It's where we saw Poe and Finn zipping around with C-3PO. I believe that's Pisana.
Yeah.
I think the Naomi Ackie's character, was it Jaina?
Jana, yeah, Jana.
Jana?
Yeah. Janna.
She may be on, and it may not even be revealed yet, but it also may be Endor, or a planet around Endor where the Death Star is at. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, true.
Just based on the scenery shots or the environment shots we've gotten.
Yeah, that's a good point, because she is seen in more of like an open field area. There's some
we're going to talk about the aliens. They're concrete fact number 2, but there are going to be a defined alien race that probably the good guys are going to interface with on Pisana.
Yeah, and the second planet, Kijimi, is a snow-dusted planet, and that is also the home to another character that we're going to get to a little bit later in this list. So
it's the home of the Thieves' Quarters. We'll leave it at that. And I think that is a huge revelation, Nick. So when we get to number 5, we'll kind of dive into that. But so yeah, we now know, at least factually, we're getting 2 new planets, Pisana and Kijimi. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that clears up some speculation in terms of some of the locations we saw in the trailer. But still doesn't give us that much to work off. So concrete fact number 2, and we've already been talking about, and that those are the new aliens. And these are what I'm pronouncing as the Aki-Aki.
Yep.
I mean, they could very easily be the Kai-Kai. But basically AKI-AKI. These people, I believe, will be the natural inhabitants of Pasaana.
Yeah, and if you remember seeing the images from the Vanity Fair article or even from some of the leaks, they are very alien-like in their characteristics. They're humanoid, they're bipedal, but they wear these very traditional robes, lots of red and orange.
They look
colors.
like nomads.
Yeah.
They look like desert nomads.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. So if you can look them up on Wikipedia, or you can go onto the Vanity Fair article and you can see those. But the Aki-Aki, they're very interesting and cool looking new alien there. And like Matt said, they're probably going to be interfacing with our heroes. And we also know, if we go into number 3 here, that the Knights of Ren are confirmed to at least appear on Pasaana, which means that we could have a bit of interfacing between the Aki-Aki and our heroes, but also between the Aki-Aki and our villains, if the Knights of Ren are going to be the villains that we expect them to be and have expected them to be since TFA. So we could be in a situation to where our heroes are showing up on Pasaana in order to stop a Knights of Ren incursion or stop them from culling and killing this Aki-Aki species of alien.
I mean, that was probably one of my favorite pieces of the VF article was just the fucking shot of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, seeing JJ standing
I mean,
there
that gave us a solar Easter egg. I don't know if you've seen that, Nick, but literally one of the Knights of Ren's weapons is the same weapon you can see in Dryden Voss's office in Solar.
Oh, really? I have to go look at it again. Damn.
It's dead on, dude. I mean, yeah, it's picture perfect Easter egg.
Nice.
Which opens up, like, why? Is it just a nod to fans, or is it tying the films together, the universe together? It's kind of cool. Either way, I'm just glad that the Knights are confirmed. We got images of them working with JJ. You got a dude that's got like a fucking Samus arm. I mean, literally a gun arm. I am so excited for the Knights of Ren, just because they've been teased for so long, and all we've ever gotten of them is a fucking flashback.
Yeah, the flashback in TFA, and then that was it.
I feel like they're going to be a major factor in the Rise of Skywalker's plot.
I would hope so. Yeah.
I think they're going to fundamentally shift the course of the plot, in particular for Kylo.
Yeah, I mean, Kylo took the name Ren for a reason. Either, he took the name Ren as like
he created the shit. I mean, he's described as the leader of the Knights of Ren.
Exactly. So he took the name Ren as, maybe a pseudo nod to the old Darths of the ancient Sith and the Sith of Palpatine's day, and changing his name to Kylo Ren to kind of show himself as a dark side entity, and then his followers became known as the Knights of Ren, of Kylo Ren. So it is going to be interesting to see the dynamic between them, because we've seen 2 full movies, like you've said, where Kylo is functioning on his own and there's no Knights of Ren to be seen. Like
dude, they're not even referenced in TLJ.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in TFA, Snoke's like, oh, the mighty leader of the Knights of Ren, blah blah, is a pussy, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing
but they just disappeared.
Yeah, TLJ, there was a rumor at one point that we were going to see the Knights of Ren kind of on Acto at one point, but obviously that never came to fruition. We don't know if it was filmed and hit the floor or something like that.
That was again just fan building.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. You're right. Like, this is huge because these people could have a massive impact.
Here's the tricky part about what VF did with the Knights of Ren. I don't know if you picked up on this, but when the article first released, they literally went on record and said, we can exclusively confirm that in the trailer, when Kylo Ren's fucking people up, that's the Knights of Ren. And then guess what they had to do?
What?
They had to walk that back.
Oh, no.
Yes. It's been changed on the article, everything. So, to me, Nick, I feel like maybe the writer or whoever wrote the sub-column probably got that information and maybe forgot to clear it. I 100% believe the first thing they wrote is legit.
So he was jacking the Knights of Ren because it looked like okay.
Right, that one scene where he does that his saber, and he just like fucking picks the dude up and slashes him down. They were saying that was him fighting the Knights of Ren on record exclusive.
Yeah, that makes total sense because that was one of the things that we talked about in our speculation.
We're like, dude, that kind of like the guy that he's fucking up. And honestly, now that VF went on record and then went off record and pulled it, I looked as like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's that guy in that Vanity Fair shot. You can almost see that it's one of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's funny that they came out and they're like, oh, with their big dicks, like, oh, we can exclusively say that he was fighting the Knights of Ren, and then Disney was probably like, hey, assholes.
You can't say that, motherfucker.
We talked about that off the record, you fucks.
Yeah, well, that's a fucking massive reveal. Like, that is saying...
Exactly, and the fact that they came and changed it just
proves,
kind of me... It's a tell. It's like, we
jacked that up. But yeah, that's a huge
because they came and they're like, oh no, we didn't, we were mistaken.
Sorry, I meant to say that the Knights of Ren are definitely going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah.
And Bob's your uncle. Moving on, another big one here because I mean Nick and I talked about this on another kind of a speculation cast for Tross when we heard some information about who Richard E. Grant could be playing, right? Do you remember that? Because he was even like, well, I can't even tell my family, and I think fans may have an idea who it is. That's why we have to be so secretive, and now we know who he's playing, and I'm still going, what the fuck was he talking about? Is he just a great interviewer and throwing people off the trail? Because Richard E. Grant is playing Allegiant General Pride of the First Order.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's no one I've ever heard of.
Allegiant General Pride is definitely not somebody that again, I haven't read all of the novels. Maybe he's in there. He could be in the novels, and I haven't heard of him. But even if you look at like the Star Wars wiki articles on Allegiant General Pride, the only mention of him is for The Rise of Skywalker and this reveal from Vanity Fair. So like, it's not like he was a very known character. I will say this, that like, if you want to talk about similarity in names, you could say that his name is similar to Governor Price, who was the governor of Lothal. I mean, it's one letter off.
I love you, Nick. That's a great fucking stretch,
brother. I mean, I'm trying.
That's about as stretchy as it gets.
I mean,
dude, as like I said, I mean, apparently Grant's just an expert throwing people off the trail type.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he was trying to lead people down the trail of thinking that he was.
Because he's like, I can't even like tell my family because they may guess, and I'm just going, well,
like who could it be?
No one would guess this unless they wrote.
The
it.
only other thing that I was saying, I'm like, so he's not going to be Thrawn. It wouldn't make sense. Is he like fucking Grand Moff Tarkin's son? Like, is he fucking
right. Exactly.
Will Hoof Tarkin the second? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the image we got of him, he's sitting down and Hux is above him holding his shoulder. Yeah. So is a general higher than an Allegiant General? To me, the Allegiant General Pride sounds like he's the captain of like the gay pride fair in LA. Right?
He could be.
Like he's the what do they call the guy?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, the dude that leads the band out.
Oh, the drum major? Drum major.
That to me, I see Allegiant General Pride leading the parade at LA's Pride Festival.
Yeah,
every year.
Allegiant General to me sounds like
an asshole.
An asshole, but I think it would be higher than General. I think he's above Hux because like it sounds like almost what our politics have become, to where most Republican Congress people have basically given up their charge to defend the Constitution, and they're allegiant to the leader. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of how it sounds?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Like an Allegiant General. It's almost like his job is to make sure you love the First Order.
Yeah, exactly. Like maintain
your allegiance. Like, what the fuck is that title?
I mean, it could be. We know that there is a storm the First Order troopers are all mind-washed.
He's the captain of brainwashing people.
It could be. I mean, that's not a bad call. Like, it could be. I mean, even, like, I'm trying to look up, like, Allegiant General, and, like, even, within Star Wars, it's just, like, it's a military rank within the First Order. Like, it doesn't even say, like, where it ranks in terms of the First Order structure. So
To me, it says, you motherfuckers better keep your allegiance in order or you're going to get fucked.
yeah, which to me, I feel like he would be above Hux then, because Hux could even start to like waver a little bit, and he comes in, he's like, you maintain your allegiance to the First Order, son. And then also,
I still kind of like the theory where Hux is going to be a double.
I think I could still buy that. I like it. Also,
He's totally snaky enough for that until he feels like he can get his power back.
yeah, like he's been so emasculated at the end of TLJ. He's just been like shit on so hard by Kylo. Like
First scene, he gets made fun of by the Resistance, then Snoke slaps his face on the ground.
Yeah.
And by the end, Kylo's already thrown him into a few walls.
yeah, so I mean, like he's essentially become just a joke. And then I could see a Legion General Pride getting in there and giving fucking Hux some good old First Order propaganda to get him back on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. Whipping him up again.
Also,
Whipping him back
Richard E.
into
Grant,
shape.
I mean, like the way, like you mentioned the image that was shown of him, he looked so cool as a First Order officer. Like he just looked fucking badass.
He's the epitome of a cocksucker military leader.
And just like the way that the shot is positioned where he's sitting down and then Hux is standing behind him, he's a bad motherfucker. You know it. Like you know this dude is just a bad motherfucker. Like you look at him, you're like, he's done some fucked up shit before. He
is that was a good call earlier on. He is very reminiscent of a Tarkin looking motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean like him.
Like he's not physically imposing, but he just looks evil in like a bad person.
And that's like perfect to Tarkin, because Tarkin wasn't physically imposing, but even Vader was like, ooh, I don't want to fuck with him. Like,
well, I mean, Leia made fun of him. I mean, Leia's like, oh, you're on fucking Tarkin's leash, you little bitch.
I mean, so I feel like this Allegiant General Pride, Richard E. Grant's going to be like a Tarkin-like character.
And honestly, Nick, back in the day when I used to watch that, I was like, man, how could she say that about Darth Vader? But now I've seen the prequels, I'm like, yeah, it makes complete sense because he's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a fucking bitch.
Dude, it's so funny.
That's the character Darth Vader. He is a yes sir.
Yeah, he was a yes man all the way up until the end of
fucking
Return
sand,
of Jedi.
Sand hating pussy.
It's so funny too because I'm on like a Google Images page for Richard E. Grant, and one of the images is him photoshopped as Thrawn. People were all into that.
That ain't happening.
They were all into it.
All right, so moving on to fact 5 here, and this is going to be a quick one because I think we basically confirmed this months ago when we had a kind of a costume leak image that we talked about. But Kerry Russell has finally been officially confirmed as Zori Bliss, who is the kind of Rocketeer-looking person you've seen in purple. But to me, the interesting reveal here, Nick, was the fact that she's a member of, or lives or belongs to, stays at the Thieves' Quarter on Kijimi.
Yes.
So why is that interesting? Well, I believe this is key to the plot, and I believe it's probably going to be the Resistance that is going to be enlisting her services to steal something.
Yeah, I think so too, because if anybody needs to enlist the services of a tried and true thief, it's the Resistance right now. The First Order has enough power and enough.
Yeah, you would think that they have enough people to do it themselves.
Yeah, like they just blast their way through anything they're looking for. They fucking send in the Star Destroyers. They send in the garrisons. They get it. But the Resistance has to work in a much more surreptitious manner. So that would require the services of essentially a fucking, not really a bounty hunter, but like an artifact hunter, like a thief.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, she's essentially a Boba Fett, but for stealing
Exactly,
shit.
Yeah.
Where Boba Fett was for either killing or capturing targets, Zori, to me, is someone that you would go to if you need something that is very hard to gank.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's an artifact hunter. She's almost kind of in a way like Drake was like that. Like Nathan Drake from Uncharted. Like he.
Exactly. She's looking for fine pieces. I mean, Nick, playing into your theory, could she be the one that is going to lead them to a holocron? Is she the one leading them to the Death Star pieces? Something like that. I 100% believe that the Resistance is going to tap into her, just like they had to find the shady DJ to help them.
Yeah.
Progress their mission.
Yeah, they don't have the resources, but this girl can get them what they need in a relatively safe manner and keep them kind of, uninvolved, I mean, if she gets captured.
But ultimately, do you not feel like she may, especially if she is working for the Resistance, possibly get mixed up into the conflict, or do you feel she will be more Boba Fettish, where she kind of does something big, but that's about it?
I don't want it to be a DJ type deal. Like, DJ was kind of like that, where he's like, yeah, I can get you on, and then, like, that was basically it. And he was just like, well, DJ stands for don't join, blah, blah, blah. I'm here for the money, bye. Like, I want this character to... I feel like the galaxy is starting to feel the strain of the First Order now. Like...
So you're kind of like maybe like me, where you almost she's at first hired for money, wants nothing to do with the good cause, but after seeing some shit that goes down during her mission, she maybe decides to join the good cause.
Yeah, kind of like Han and fucking Episode 4 in A New Hope. He's like, I'm in it for the money, and then he had Chewbacca pulling on his coat saying, "What the fuck are we doing here?" But then also he had a little bit of feelings for Leia. I want this character to be like, yeah, I'll do this. I can find you what you need, but then something goes wrong, or she has like a Resistance escort, and they kind of talk her into joining the cause. But
I don't know, man. It's interesting to think about. I do think she could end up being a DJ type of character, 100%.
Yeah.
She could just be a pure plot device to steal something to progress.
No, yeah, you're right. Totally. And I would be totally fine with that, because we have a lot of characters to follow in this movie already.
Exactly. I mean, if done right, it would be perfect. But I do agree with you. I think you could enhance the lore a bit if she potentially does have a kind of change of character and realizes, maybe walking the line in between righteous and scum isn't for me at this point in time.
Yeah, totally agreed.
Maybe I should help out these sad sacks that were almost obliterated, but somehow have stuck around against, impossible odds.
Good stuff. I hope it's
so. Who knows? It'll be interesting. So up next, another one that doesn't really warrant a lot of discussion, but it's now been confirmed 100% that this story will be taking place at least up to 1 year after TLJ. And even Oscar himself kind of described it as it gave us time as a group to kind of have our own little stories, get to know each other better, and a lot of this stuff, Nick, is going to be told in this prequel or Tross prequel novel that will be coming out before the movie.
Yeah. So this is something that really I feel like it needed that 1 year time period, because if we didn't have at least a year, this whole trilogy would be super rushed, and
it'd be like 2 days.
You'd be talking a very short time period.
It would essentially be the John Wick of Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually,
and I love John Wick, but I mean, John Wick's timeline is literally maybe a week.
Yeah, but then John Wick also doesn't need to train to become a Jedi. John Wick's already a master fucking assassin, so...
I mean, he is, for all intents and purposes, he is a...
Yeah, I mean, the motherfucker's a clear...
He doesn't even need a fucking lightsaber. No. That's how badass he is.
He's too badass. But, yeah, I mean, one year is a perfect amount of time, like Oscar said, to build characters.
Could you imagine if John Wick was a girl, what people would be doing?
Dude, I would fucking love that. I would still love it.
She's too OP.
It's like, what do you mean?
But if it's a guy, he's awesome.
She can hit every shot without missing. How is that possible? Right. It's like, all right, yeah.
Right, exactly. You know it would be. There'd be people out there going, she's too OP.
I don't get it, but I mean, Luke wasn't.
Well, you should get it, man. You live in America.
I know, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And then that kind of rolls into the next item here, number 7, that Rey's force training is nearly complete.
Right. This is another kind of like no shit Sherlock, but I mean, whatever. I guess you got to put it out there for the dummies. But yeah, as Nick was, I think, going to say, Rey's pretty much going to be ready to rock by the time Tross comes around, just like Luke was. And as I speculated kind of in the video companion I did for this piece, which I implore you to go check out, because obviously you're going to get some other insights, other opinions, and little pictures to splash up while you're watching. But I think, like Luke, Rey's going to have one last challenge, and that challenge is going to be Kylo Ren.
Yeah, exactly. Like when Luke went to Dagobah and he was talking to dying Yoda, at one point he says, "So I am a Jedi then?" And Yoda literally says to him, "It's like, no, you have to face Vader. You have to face Vader before you become a Jedi." So yes, he wasn't there, just like Rey's not there at this point. So yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same kind of mindset between her and Luke, where Luke, everyone's telling him, like, hey, man, it's a lost cause. It's a lost cause. It's a lost cause. Even Anakin was telling him, dude, give up, son. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
But Luke committed himself to the idea that I know there's good in this fight.
Yeah, and that's what, I mean, like, even at the end of TLJ, Rey was still like that with Kylo. Rey's like,
she did. I mean, she shut the ramp on him, which to me was kind of the physical sign that she was cutting their connection off for the time being. But as we move into number 8, just because Rey shut that door right there at the end of TLJ doesn't mean that these two aren't going to be deepening their force bond, which has been confirmed. These two will deepen their relationship through the Force. That's a no-brainer. Nick and I have kind of talked about we're probably going to see this play out in these Force flash fights.
Yep.
I mean, maybe they're related in the end. We just talked about that other rumor out there. But Kylo and Rey's special bond, which honestly is a bond we haven't seen between Force users up until now, is going to go even deeper than it already is. So I don't know what that means. That's probably going to lead to the ultimate resolution to all this, which is going to be his redemption, probably through her sacrifice or through her I don't want to say love, but probably maybe through her actions, just like Luke.
Well, I mean, I think...
but yeah, these two, we're going to see more of how they're connected. And as Adam Driver calls it, they're maybe bonds.
I think that they needed this, though. I mean, what we talked about at the end of TLJ was now with Carrie gone and her not being able to play out her full role in this movie, you needed that emotional punch at the end. I mean, you had that emotional punch there at the end of Return of the Jedi. You had the attempt at the emotional punch there at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So to have these two characters who are definitely linked in some way, you know, have them build their bond and get to a point to where they are in a state where a sacrifice or a redemption could lead to an emotional connection between the audience and those characters. I mean, like, that is needed for this film. So I'm really happy to see that they are gonna explore that more. The Force bond, like you mentioned, was something that we've never seen. Like, yeah, Luke and Vader could communicate through the Force, but we've never seen...
They couldn't fucking see each other.
Like, they literally...
Or fight each other.
Yeah, like blinking through fucking dimensions to fight each other through the Force. I mean, it's completely different set of circumstances.
So, I mean, I'm like you. I'm intrigued to see where it's going. But I'm probably even more intrigued for their number 9 fact, dude, because this to me is huge. Especially knowing that we're going to have at least 6 more movies coming out if Ryan's going to get his, which I think Ryan's would be set after 9. But according to this Vanity Fair article, my friends, this movie is going to put a definitive end to the Jedi versus Sith conflict that has raged in the galaxy for millennia. Like, we're talking 10,000 plus years.
I mean, and this
how do you
I was going to say exactly, like, this could be a good thing, but I don't know how this could happen. Because, like, unless they both die. Like, because here's the thing is, like, as long as you have a Force users out there, then there's going to be the potential for one of the Force users to abuse it. Unless they just mean that they won't be Jedi and Sith anymore. They'll still be dark side, light side. They'll still be...
I think that's kind of where it's going towards, dude. Kind of like the gray stuff, the middle. Yeah. You know, Rey, I mean, she's kind of dressed in white. She's not your traditional brown, dark garb type of Jedi. Yeah. I do think it's meant to imply that once the definitive names for light and dark are gone, that there's probably going to be this new approach to the Force where you embrace it all.
Yeah.
And those who are strong enough will be able to kind of maintain their righteousness, even if they dabble into the dark. Yeah. But ultimately, you're also going to have the people that probably let the dark dominate them.
Yeah, exactly.
It just sounds like they're no longer going to be Sith or Jedi, and that kind of gives credence to the whole theory that the idea of the Rise of Skywalker is that that is the new order of Force user.
Yeah. So
is you're a Skywalker now instead of a Jedi or a Sith.
Yeah. So I don't think that it's gonna I don't think what they mean by this is it's gonna be the end of the conflict between the dark and the light. Like, I don't think that's ever gonna go away.
No, I think it's purely the factions that were created, the old failed factions. I mean, the Jedi Order, Yoda himself, Luke, it all sucks. I mean, to me, this could almost imply that Luke and Palpatine maybe ultimately wipe each other out.
It could, yeah. I mean, it definitely could be the
like Luke even sacrifices his essence,
the last
to vanquish Palpatine's.
Yeah,
essence.
I mean, that was what I had theorized around how Anakin could be used, like him coming back in essence to destroy the essence of Palpatine, but it would also work for Luke. I mean, and that would, those are the last two vestiges of the old ways, really. I mean, we don't know.
No, I agree. So, I mean, those guys probably have to disappear altogether if this is going to happen. And it's going to happen because this is fact. Like, this is shit coming from the creators' mouths. And I even believe this was George's ultimate goal, too.
Yeah, I mean,
I believe he's the one that made sure this was in there. In fact.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely the one,
And as Nick said, it's not, okay, we're just going to have all good or all bad. I just think it's the monikers, the orders are gone.
Yeah, because
you're probably going to still have some people that fuck around in the dark, and probably some people that only live in the light, and probably some people in the middle. But just because you fuck around in the dark, you're no longer a Sith. You may use it for different reasons, different motivations, but you're not a part of the order.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there'll probably still be another dark side Force user that tries to take over the galaxy.
Exactly. There's no rule of two in this bullshit. And Jedi, there's no, you can't marry, you can't have kids. That's all going away. It's, you're Skywalker.
Yeah.
And you have a connection to the Force, and you can tap into both aspects of it.
Very interesting. I want to see how it plays out, because that is like...
Yeah, no, like I said, right when we got into this fact, I'm like, I think this is one of the most intriguing facts we have here because of what it implies for the rest of Star Wars moving
Definitely.
forward.
100% agree.
All right, so next up, this is another big one, I believe, and one we've speculated on and kind of has even been honored in the toy photography community. And that's the fact that 3PO is going to have an expanded role. And VF kind of positioned it as he may be taking on the legacy character role in TROS. Notably because Luke's dead, Carrie died in real life, so that kind of fucked all that up. So it sounds like 3PO is going to kind of go from being a cameo machine in the sequel trilogy to actually having a full-on role. And Daniels himself even said that fans will see him do something unexpected, hence Rampo.
When I first saw Rampo, I don't know, man. I couldn't wrap my head around it. But hearing this, like Anthony said in the piece, and then him having the expanded role, it makes sense. I mean,
I almost feel like C-3PO is gonna die.
Gosh, that would be.
I think he's gonna sacrifice himself in a heroic turn that he's never done. This is the unexpected thing. He's gonna go out like a hero.
Wow, that would be so good. I mean, who do you think he would save? I think he would probably be somebody like Poe or Finn.
No, I think it's gonna be. I mean, in the article it says that him and Anthony and Daisy worked multiple scenes together.
Okay, well then, yeah, he could save Rey. That would be such an odd scene, though, right?
But no, you're right. I think, I mean, honestly, we've heard this. The big three are going to be together for a lot of this movie, so I do think he's going to be with that core group. I don't know, man. I could see this being the first time ever he kind of does an R2 move, but unlike R2, he doesn't survive.
Yeah, exactly. R2 is known to make his way out of sticky situations, and 3PO is really the one that just tags along and gets out along with him.
He's done nothing. I mean, let's be honest. The guy has done nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
He's not
in 8 movies. He's done nothing.
He's not nearly
besides
as useful.
Bitch moan, berate R2, give him a complex, and annoy the humans.
Yeah, he's not a very action oriented. Jump up to the.
He's a worrywart. I mean, he's a fucking odds machine worrywart. That's all he is. He's good for talking to other systems and worrying and bothering.
Protocol. That's his primary function, is protocol.
Right. So I don't know, man. I could see him going out in a blaze of glory, and I think it would be. I'd probably cry more than anything.
Wow.
else.
Yeah. If he dies, man, it's definitely gonna elicit some
If
emotion.
he dies like a fucking boss, dude, get out of here. I'd be leveled. I'd be like, God damn it, that's beautiful.
Dude, if he picks up Chewie's bowcaster like it's being fucking
and like saves Chewie or Rey or something, and
I
then
think
his
that's
head
the
gets
one.
fucking
He's
melted.
gotta save Chewie. He's got it because Chewie saved him in Empire.
You're 100%.
He's gotta
right.
save Chewie.
You are exactly right, dude. Or at least throw Chewie's body parts into a bag and carry around on his back. Like if Chewie gets blown up by a thermal detonator,
Yeah.
C-3PO just carries his fucking rotting
Yeah,
parts
he's
around.
like, you did this for me once, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
for
I
you.
can't put you back together, buddy, but I'm gonna carry you around till we can bury you on
Yeah,
Kashyyyk.
I mean,
That's how fucked up.
oh
I am.
man.
All right, so the last fact here, in this one, this is the type of shit I live for. And they're saying in Tross, we're going to get exposed to some of the origins of the First Order. And that stuff gets my nipples
Yeah,
hard.
we want to know where this came from. Is this due to?
Nick, you and I know where it came from.
I mean, this is the
First Order came from
exactly.
Palpatine.
It's the vestiges of the Empire. It's Palpatine's
I'm telling you right
plan.
now, but to me, the interesting thing here is I think we're finally going to see how he did
Yeah,
it.
like exactly what he left behind to ensure that this new evil rose.
Right. And I think it's going to pay off on what we know already about Cinder,
Mm-hmm.
what was explored in Battlefront 2. I think we're going to see the whole plan.
Yeah, exactly. Not just pieces of it, how everything
We're going to see how he got Snoke looped up into it if he didn't possess him, all this stuff. And that gets me excited because in the end, I love just the deep nugget lore shit. Like the stuff that most people on the surface could care less about. But to me, yes, I want to know exactly where these people came from. Resistance gave us a little bit of this stuff, right, Nick? They kind of showed us, okay, they existed, but now we're going to show you how they built up their war machine to where what you saw they did in TFA. That was great. I'm hoping here we kind of get maybe a flashback or an explanation of how they became so powerful, why they look like a modern carbon copy of the Empire, so on.
Yeah, exactly. Like the thing is there's a lot of similarities between the rise of the Empire and the rise of the First Order. They both started off, they both came out of a political system. I mean, the Empire came to be because Palpatine worked his way through legit government to become the Chancellor.
The Empire was the good guys. The Empire was the Republic.
And the First Order rose out of the New Republic being essentially a super, I guess you would call them super militaristic, section of the New Republic that wanted to break off.
They're the Taliban.
Yeah, pretty perfect example. Yes. And like you say, in
ISIS, whatever you want to say, that's who the First Order is.
In Resistance, we got to see how they went from small militant group to huge military force without anybody knowing. They were mining these planets and they were, building up their army in the outer edges of space, not the unknown regions quite, but in the unexplored kind of outer rims of the galaxy. So to see how it all came about to start, though, is what would be really fucking important and really interesting to all of us crazy.
I agree. I mean, I think it'd be huge. And honestly, people, now we've reached the end of our 11 facts. If you really sit there and think about these 11 facts, I think they address pretty much any issue you've probably had with the sequel trilogy up until
Yeah,
now.
I mean, what else are we missing? Like, we're gonna.
Outside of getting any concrete Luke stuff in here, I don't know what else you could want to maybe work towards your healing,
Yeah, I mean,
if you
more
will. I mean,
more on Kylo and Rey, more on the First Order origins.
the Knights of Ren, the First Order, where they came from.
I mean, this is probably going to include more information on Snoke too. I know that even me.
Well, you would hope so if we're going to learn the origins of the First Order, considering he was the supreme
Yeah.
leader.
I mean that should be a given that we find out more about this fucking super powerful dark side user that ran a very powerful faction of the galaxy and essentially destroyed an entire governmental system with one blast of a super weapon. So would be cool. Would be cool if we find out a little bit more about him.
Yeah, so those are your 11 facts about Tross's plot. These legitimately take them to the bank, storm, they're good to go. I still want you to check out the video, so you can do that on youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show, or just go to starwarstime.net. Hit that right sidebar and snag on that YouTube link. And if you get there, just go ahead and subscribe and like the videos. That really helps us out. All right, Nick, so before we enter our final segment of the night, the fandom segment, the one we live for, the top 5, just real quick. We don't have to spend any time on this. I just want to do a public service announcement for those of you that kind of like the weird, the oddities of the internet, the web gems, if you will. So this week I kind of stumbled upon, actually it was last week, but I was lazy on vacation, didn't post it. But someone out there who runs a YouTube channel called the Emergent VFX, they created, or they didn't create anything. They modded a Game of Thrones scene, in particular the Clegane Bowl from the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones. They added lightsabers to it. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan and a Star Wars fan, and you like the Clegane Bowl, go ahead and check out the video on StarWarsTime.net. Just do StarWarsTime.net, scroll down to our fandom section. It will be in there. Check it out. It's a pretty well done edit. I mean, this dude literally just expertly dubbed in red lightsabers for Sandor and Gregor's swords, and it just makes the scene that much better.
It was super cool. And even at one point in the fight, you see when Sandor pulls out the dagger, it's a little blue lightsaber.
It turns blue. It's like, and they're playing the Duel of the Fates behind it. It's very well done. So we're not going to spend any much more time on that. I just wanted to point it out there. Every once in a while, StarWarsTime.net, we're still trying to kind of throw out the nonsensical, because honestly, people, that's why I like the internet. I like when people get creative and do weird stuff like this. So when time permits, we're going to get it out there. So check it out. So Nick, let's go get into the bread and butter of the Friday show here. And that's, I think, to both of us, it's one of our favorite segments just because of the joy we know it gives to the people we're talking about, as well as just the community feedback we've been getting from these people. And that's our top 5 Instagram Star Wars artist features of the week. As always, I spend my Saturday through Friday every morning. Literally the first thing I do when I wake up. This is no joke. You can check the timestamps if you want. Okay, it might not be the first thing. I might take a shit. I might read some news about how fucked up the world is, and then I get into this. But either way, before I leave my bedroom every morning, I scroll through Star Wars Time Show on Instagram. I look at the hashtag Star Wars Time Show. I'll just scroll through our feed, and I will look for amazing Star Wars art pieces from the community. And that could be toy photography, it could be illustrations, paintings, diorama building, whatever. And I will share 4 images every day, at least 4. And then come Friday, my buddy Nick sits down and goes through the 50 plus images. How many are out there? Obviously, if I did math, it's definitely not 50, but I can't do math, so it is what it is. Nick will limit those down to his 5 favorite shares. And that's what we're going to talk about right now.
So top 5 this week. I got a little fun, a little crazy in there. We have some mishmashes. We have some illustrations. We have some solid toy photography as well. So we have a lot of fun stuff here in the top 5. and we're going to kick it off with one of Matt's good buddies in the toy photography world, Mr. 1/6 Shooter, Trevor. And he put out a absolutely fantastic shot of old Luke. So we have the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy Luke, and then R2-D2. And this is mimicking a shot, I believe, from the Vanity Fair piece that Annie Leibovitz.
Oh, 100%. I mean, this is an Annie Leibovitz in toy form. I mean, spot the fuck on. I mean, the guy nailed it. I mean, if you read Trevor's comment here, I mean, he was obviously motivated from seeing this. He recreated it, and he's like, a very humble guy, of course. Says, didn't really nail the nice soft lighting of the original. It's like, okay, dude, still looks fucking great.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
But I wanted to take a stab at reproducing it, and here, all of the effects are done in camera, outside of the sparks and a little bit of the flames.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like, holy shit. I mean, the lighting effects that he gets in the background, the mix of colors, the way that you have the light that's even showing through Luke's, robe. Like,
that's how you fucking do it, buddy.
Like, this guy.
I've told you this before, Nick. To me, there's a few key things you need to have if you're a toy photographer. You got to know how to light. Got to know how to pose. Got to know how to frame.
Yep.
This is called the trifecta.
And that's what
the light, the pose, the framing.
Yeah, that's what Trevor, aka 1/6, is known for. Like, he's been on the top 5 multiple times.
I mean, he's a fucking pro.
The guy.
He's a pro. Literally, the guy gets paid to take pictures of toys.
If you just go to his Instagram page at 16_shooter and you scroll down through it, I mean, it's not just Star Wars stuff. It's everything geek related. You have Star Trek. You have Blade Runner.
I mean, honestly, Nick, 1/6's account to me is proof that Instagram is fucked up beyond repair. The guy doesn't even have 10,000 fucking followers.
I know.
Yet.
It's fucking crazy. Like, when if you followed along with us and you've seen the shots that we shared of him, there's
just scroll through his page. You scroll through his page, you feel like you're looking at an artist's like fucking coffee table book.
I mean,
like a guy that makes thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to create art, and he puts it out there for free and doesn't even have 10,000 followers because Instagram is fucking stupid.
It's crazy. But this man is a fantastic artist. Make sure to give him a follow on Instagram.
I mean, dude, it's insane that this shot doesn't even have over 1,000 fucking likes.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I've seen. We've talked about this offline.
Yeah.
I've showed shit to you where my jaw just drops and I go, what the fuck is going on? Why do I even do this hobby?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm talking like people literally take pictures of a figure standing straight up and down, zero pose, nothing, and are clearing 1,500, 2,000.
Yeah, it's like it's basically just the picture that's on the front of the box that's just taken with
right.
a better camera.
They're standing there. They may just literally have some grass behind them and a little bit of atmosphere aerosol sprayed around, and there we go, 1,500, 2,000.
It's crazy, but yeah, if you
like, what the fuck? Then you got shit like this from Trevor, where it's literally Annie Leibovitz quality, and he didn't even break 1,000.
It's fucking nuts. It's insane.
Fuck you, insane. Instagram. Fuck you, Facebook. Fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. Eat dicks.
Just real terrible stuff. That's Instagram's algorithm.
Either way, if you want to see what it's like to call yourself a pro toy photographer, check out this shot from 1/6 Shooter. That's all you need.
Top-notch stuff. Another returning top 5 member here and a favorite.
Mr. Action.
Yeah, a favorite of the Star Wars times, boys. This is everything Kylo.
Everything.
And he's back with the newest figure on the block, one that Matt himself.
Yeah, this motherfucker somehow got himself in the Galaxy's Edge, and he didn't buy all the exclusives for the Star Wars time game.
I mean, that just hurts deep down.
Have you not heard me talking about this on the cast, people? Saying, if you go, shower me with the goods. Nick will pay for them. All right? You just have to send them, and Nick will pay for them. I'm not looking for freebies here.
Yeah, we'll shell out.
But, Jesse, I know you sent a set to Alonzo, bro. I know you sent a set to Alonzo, a.k.a. Manny Bothans died for this intel.
So good. Such a good name.
Okay?
But
Manny Bothans.
But yeah, so Matt.
As in many Bothans, but Manny Bothans.
Break down this shot here.
Hey, Jesse, I'm just kidding, bro. I mean, honestly, Nick's going to get my shit. If he doesn't, I'm going to cut off his dick.
I will be there.
But anyways, I'll get these figures. It just would have been cool to get them early. So, hey, if you go again, wink, wink, your boy, Haywood Pop.
You
Hook him
know
up.
him.
I got money.
Featured at Star Wars Celebration, Haywood Pop, that guy.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I got PayPal. I can wire it to you.
Show some love. But so Matt,
hook a brother up. Again, dude, we're just
what we have
this.
Here.
Either way, let's get into
We have a First Order Mountain Trooper. First Order Mountain Trooper is also one that we haven't seen too much of yet in the movies. Like we haven't seen it at all. I believe he's brand new. I don't even know if we're gonna see him in Rise. I mean, he could very well just have been created for. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this isn't something that I can remember seeing. I know that we get different types of troopers every now and then, but First Order Mountain, we've never really been around mountains outside of Crate.
He's very Nick. Wouldn't you agree? He's kind of Scarif-y.
Yeah,
looking?
the helmet is definitely reminiscent of the Scarif troopers from Rogue One, and obviously we've said it multiple times. Rogue One has the best new troopers on the block. And this shot is from everything from Jesse. It's just fantastic. I mean, it's an action shot.
That's what I said. I mean, he's Action Jackson. I mean, in Jesse's his space, unlike mine's more just kind of static portrait, boring shit. Jesse's space is the fucking action world. Every shot he puts out, he's got great action poses. He always has excellent special effects. This one, I believe, if you check out his account, you can see some BTS. He also excels at doing that. He's got this guy in a wire, but the smoke and the bokeh and the giblets you're seeing, that's just a little puddle he created with a can of spray air. It's either a can of spray air or atmosphere aerosol, but he's using the kind of the propulsion of the can to kick up like the smoke, water, the particles, the water, this, that, and the other thing. It's just great. I mean, this is the type of stuff I love. I love the practical shit. I don't like when you have to use a lot of digital manipulation. It's a good pose. It's very, he's ready. He's going to go kick someone's ass.
It looks like he's running on a beach, like he's running through a beachhead into a battle. I mean, this is fucking badass.
I wish I could pose like this. I tried posing with wires last week, and with my gimp-ass busted fuck-up right hand, it's nearly impossible, and I almost threw my $1,000-plus camera 50 yards. So after last week, I've decided if I'm going to do any photography while this cast is on, it's got to be basic as fuck.
Static.
Because, I mean, I almost had a stroke over trying to pose General Grievous, Nick. It's a miracle that cocksucking figure hasn't been melted into a pile of goo.
Well, now we know that you just got to wait it out. We know that you have the figure, that Grievous figure we talked about last week. So I know that that's one that you were, waiting to get into.
Oh, I got some shots, man. I think I got some decent ones. I think they're decent. Instagram's going to think they're shit and only show to like 10 people, but I think they're decent. But I'm telling you right now, that figure got fucked up. I mean, I was lighting off crackling balls. Its cape is fucking scorched all over the place.
Well, that could be good.
I literally have holes in his cape already.
That could be perfect use for some battle wearing, and
Fuck yeah, dude. I don't care. I mean, dude, Grievous is a $30 figure. Big deal. I also busted out my fucking $80 Dooku and stained his cloak fucking blue. So that's a fuck up. That's when you go, okay, maybe we shouldn't use colored smoke bombs when we're dealing with expensive figures, but hey, it is what it is. I didn't have my tried and true M80 white smoke, so I busted out a blue one, and now my Dooku cape literally has a nice purple stain on the bottom corner, which, as I can't even use Nick's excuse to say it looks like it's just weathered. No, it looks like fucking Dooku was at a rave.
Dooku just came back from the club and it's got some purple.
I mean, he just fucking ate some Molly and he's a little cracked out. Man. But whatever, it is what it is. I had fun doing it. I blew a lot of shit up.
That's what's important.
But anyways, Everything. I still remember when I first realized that Jesse's handle was everything and not everything.
Yeah, the first time we shared.
But now, anytime I see it now, I gotta like say everything.
Yeah, my first share.
Good job, buddy. Jesse, we love you, bro. Keep it up.
Just like that. So next up, we have a fantastic shot.
Is this a new one?
This is a first time top fiver at BH_726 on Instagram, and this is a really, really incredible shot of the Empire. Just the Empire captured, encapsulated in one shot. So you have Vader in the front, ignited lightsaber out and standing in the sand, flanked by stormtroopers, and then you also have a sand trooper kind of like shadowed in the back a little bit. So I mean, it's just a really cool shot. The way that
you're right. At a point, I almost thought that was a Death Trooper, but I think with the shoulder pauldron up there.
Yeah. I thought it was Death Trooper at first too, and then I looked at the helmet a little bit, and it just looks like it's a shadowed, sand trooper there. But
I don't know, dude, this is badass. Like, I was just at the beach myself, and I got one night of shoots. I don't really think anything is even good. Nothing's remotely as good as this, but you can tell he used something here. He might have just thrown sand to kind of get that particle effect, but look how much that adds.
I know,
the
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
And this would probably be a good shot without it, but I'm telling you, man, it's all about getting some form of atmosphere in your shot, be it particles, smoke, dust, atmosphere, aerosol, whatever. It really does enhance.
Oh, yeah, and if you look down, like right by Vader's left foot, if you're looking at the image, it would be Vader's left foot, not the left.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
It looks like he's kicking up sand, like he's moving, so you can feel the motion of the image, like. So that, and then like you said, the sand that's being thrown up, making that atmospheric effect, and then also he's got some lens flare going in there, like good old JJ, our friend.
Oh yeah, I mean, just everything he did here, the light, it's a fucking banging shot. It really is. It's well composed. I love the framing here. As you said, having the ensemble behind him really adds to it. And this is something I kind of struggled out when I first started. It's how to compose a shot and add to it. I mean, sometimes these figures look fucking awesome just by themselves. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's kind of why I'm into the portrait scene, because that's what portraits are. But in the end, these toy shots look 1,000 times better when you've got the atmosphere going on with the particles. I mean, that's something I really didn't even start doing until maybe a year or two ago. And it just makes shots 1,000 times better. And the lighting, the posing, all the characters in the background. I mean, it's just a fantastic shot.
So at BH_726.
And that Vader, by the way, is the best fucking Vader out there. $20 New Hope Vader, released 40th anniversary Black Series. It's fucking dope.
That's a $20 figure? That looks really fucking good.
Yep. $20.
Nice. Very nice. So yeah, give him a follow at BH726. On Instagram at BH_726. Sorry about that. On Instagram. Good shot there. Next up, so number 4 is a fantastic mashup by at Cad's Toys, KADZTOYZ, and we have a Kermit the Frog in Kylo garb wielding a green lightsaber.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Star Wars Day. Share here. It says, "May the frog be with you." So I just thought this was hilarious. I mean, not only the fact that we have Kermit here in a Kylo uniform, but the way that the shot is composed, it looks like he's staring into the face of a battle. He's got fucking.
Oh yeah, he's got his big fat Kermit mouth open like Kermit usually is, like oh.
Oh man, it's so cool.
It is. I mean, I want to see a Muppets episode.
I know, yeah. Like I can remember.
Like I want to see Miss Piggy roll up, in a Ray outfit.
Dude, I can remember from when I was a kid. There was a Muppet Babies, the cartoon episode.
Fuck yeah,
and it was
dude.
Star
I mean,
Wars.
I know we're quite a ways apart, but Muppet Babies was my fucking.
Dude, I love
shit.
Muppet Babies, and they.
You were probably, I mean, honestly, you were probably watching Muppet Babies on reruns. I was watching them when they were like legit on Saturday morning.
Yeah, there was a Star Wars episode. I can remember seeing the Star Wars episode of Muppet Babies and Miss Piggy was dressed up as Princess Leia, and you had Fozzie was Han, or Fozzie might have been Chewie.
Well, I mean, shit, dude. Mark Hamill, I don't know if it was. I mean, he did a Star Wars deal with the Muppets.
Yeah, so I just love shit like this is so cool, dude. And
I believe that's where pigs in space comes from.
Yeah. And then, oh man, dude, yeah. So this is just a super fun shot.
I do like the green lightsaber touch, because that just gives it that much more flair.
Like, it would have still been in the top 5 if he had like the typical Kylo, crossguard saber. But giving it the green, you're right, is like that extra little bit of detail where he's like, this is Kermit the Frog. This motherfucker's got a green lightsaber.
It's just Kermit's head and his mouth just going.
Oh man.
I feel like that's essentially what the inside of Kylo's mind looks like anyway.
Yeah. So
but speaking of CADs, I'm telling you right now, dude's getting another feature probably next week, because he cooked up another entertaining shot. And it's the visual representation of what I've been saying to Nick for years now about Kylo, in terms of why didn't anyone around him remind him that Darth Vader sucked.
Yeah.
And that's not who your role model should be. So there's your tease for CADs. But we definitely have another CADs Toys shot coming up to be featured on at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram.
Keep an eye out. So our number 5 for this week is not toy photography at all.
Yep, this is actually a brand new find for me as well.
So this is a beautiful illustration done by @super_scoundrel on Instagram of Kylo Ren TROS, so Rise of Skywalker Kylo. We have the cracked helmet. We can see the red inlay in the cracks, showing it being put together.
Right, Nick, what he's working off here. I mean, yeah, he did draw this and illustrate it, but this is the sorry, I knew that was coming. This is the box art we were shown, or we saw, for some of the Hasbro figures.
Okay, so
that's at least where he's got the pose.
So he's got a little reference here, but the way that he did this, and the coloration, the style of the illustration, especially in the lightsaber, it really pops. And I mean, like,
it's insane.
I mean, I wish I had the skill that some of these artists have, like some of these traditional illustrators have.
Mind-boggling, bro. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's right where I was going. I'm going to tell you right now, artists, in terms of people that draw or paint or color, to me they're aliens. I don't even fucking know how this happens. These toy photography people are artists too, but their subjects are created for them. They just got to dress them up, pose them, figure out backgrounds, this, that, and the other thing. That's still very difficult. Don't get me wrong. I do it myself. What these motherfuckers are doing, like Super Scoundrel, it doesn't even make sense to me. It's like it's akin to a programmer that cooks up a fucking video game in their fucking head.
I mean,
with like 100,000 lines of random garbage, fucking wonky code syntax. I don't get this. I don't get how some motherfucker can just sit there on an iPad or something and draw this with their goddamn fingers.
I don't know if I just don't have this part of the brain. Like, the artistic side of things was always kind of like lost on me. I don't have this. I don't have the music. I don't have the programming. I basally have nothing. Yeah, like I can hang with the programming. I've done some animation. Like, I was in school for animation, and I did a lot of it in 3ds Max, Maya, stuff like that, and I could put together some cool.
I can't even draw a straight line. That's no joke.
That's what kind of held me back in my artistic, dreams, was that I could never really draw or illustrate or build something with my own hands. Like,
can you explain to me what makes something an illustration versus a drawing?
I mean, I guess
is illustration just means it's colored?
Illustration is more like it's like inked in, like, you could think of like comic book art as illustrations, but I guess and then a drawing is more of just like pencil pen, black, like pencil black and white kind of stuff, to where.
Yeah, all right. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's all nonsense.
Yeah,
anyways,
I don't know if you're listening, scoundrel, and you can give us a better breakdown.
Yeah, is there like a pure definition of like what? Why would you call yourself an illustrator versus say just an artist or a drawer?
Yeah, I mean maybe it's a bit of maybe it's like a bit of both.
I don't know.
Maybe you start with the drawing and then it becomes the illustration after you add in the color. Also,
that's kind of what I'm thinking, Nick. I believe it can't be considered an illustration until it's colored.
Could be. So if you're listening, scoundrel, one, give us a little breakdown on that, and two, also if you could just give us an idea. Did you do this on an iPad? Is this something that you like drew by hand and then uploaded and then did the coloration in Photoshop on your computer? All around fantastic art piece right here. I would take this and hang it on my wall any fucking day of the week.
Yeah, and while you're processing Nick's requests, if you want to just go ahead and doctor up a few tattoo options for myself.
Matt's finally getting into the tattoo feel. Like
go ahead.
He feels left, like me and our intern Ryan both got Star Wars tattoos at Celebration.
I like how we still call him intern Ryan. That does. Speaking of, he's forever intern Ryan, especially because his lazy ass hasn't done a fucking comic book write up for like 2 months now.
Come on, intern Ryan. We got to get back.
So that's why he is the intern.
But we were trying to poke and prod Matt, like, come on, man, it's time for you to get a tattoo. Starting to come around to it a little bit. Here you go.
It has nothing to do with I don't want them. It's just I'm so fucked up in the head. I need a work of art. Like I can't settle for just whatever.
Yeah, you need to do like.
I honestly want intern Ryan's fucking piece.
You need to just do like he did. So when they announce Anaheim,
what that motherfucker got, that's exactly what's been in my head in terms of that's the type of stuff I want.
Yeah, and.
Not just a drawing of Vader, but that fucking drawing.
Yeah, like a beautiful artistic rendition.
But now that motherfucker has it, so I'm fucked.
You got to think of a new one. You got to pick a new piece.
I couldn't even do it. I couldn't even do a new character in that style. He's to me, he owns the style now.
Oh no, everything. I would still do Vader, but I would pick a different style. Like, cause Vader's your homeboy. Like, you can't just.
All right, so I'll do a Vader stick.
Just a stick figure with the Vader
like
helmet
a prison
on it.
tattoo.
Like, you know what I think would be?
Oh, fucking Pete. I'll get him a pen and sharpen it, and he just stab it.
I mean, like, there's a lot of cool renditions. If you look out there's a lot of cool artistic renditions of Vader that aren't like geometric or something like that. Like,
I'm sure, but they exist already.
Yeah, but. I mean, that a geometric Vader existed already. I can guarantee you.
Dude got the first ever, at least from that artist, that type.
Yeah.
I mean, she very may well start reproducing it now because how it turned out, but that's it. He got
it's out there though. Like geometric, like maybe not tattoos just like Ryan's, but like geometric portrayals of Vader have been on the internet for a bit. So.
Yeah,
you can get it though, man. I think you could find a new style.
In the end, scoundrel, hook me up, homie.
Get
Either way, we love your art, and I'm telling you right now, you're on my radar, and you're definitely going to be shared more than just this Kylo one, because I've seen your Rey piece from Tross. It's fantastic. It just comes down to how big of a homer do we want to look like. I mean, I do make an effort to spread things out. Because there are a few of you out there that literally put out top-notch shit, and it's not shit. I'm just a moron, and I like using cuss words. Literally top-level art, week in and week out, multiple times a week. Sometimes it's very hard for me to not just go, okay, here we go. It's time for this guy, this guy, this guy. Basically, I could do weekly features of accounts.
Yeah, I mean...
But I make it a mission of mine every day to find one new account, and it's getting harder and harder, but I'm keeping at it. Luckily, last week I found Super Scoundrel because this dude clearly needs way more followers, putting out some fantastic illustrations of your favorite Star Wars bros and sisters.
Go follow him at super_scoundrel on Instagram. Tons of great shit up there. Already a Zori Bliss image up there for those of you who are looking for the new characters. So.
Oh, speaking of Zori, just wait. Our other resident favorite artist, Daz Tibbles, has been putting out some fucking insane shit too.
Very nice.
I'm just sitting on it. Like I said, sometimes I got to sit on some of the big boys. I mean, I dropped another work more or less shot this week. He did a absolutely insane Digirama shot from the Phantom Menace between Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. I mean, you would think the dude somehow reached into his TV screen and placed action figures into the scene when they're fighting on Naboo. It's just nuts. But point being, like I said, there's some fantastic accounts out there on IG. We've brought them up more than a few times these days on Star Wars Time Show. I make it a mission to find some new ones, but in the end, you're probably going to get some of these all-stars sprinkled throughout these casts. But Nick, I think we've done it. I think we've caught everyone up. We've caught ourselves up. We took a week off, which is why all of you just got a 2-hour Star Wars Time Show. I know they're probably not your favorite. I don't even know if they're my favorite, but I can tell you right now, time has flown as Nick and I have been talking because we took a break and we had some excellent stuff to talk about. I mean, we covered some Tross stuff. We talked about our fandom. We talked about Game of Thrones, for Christ's sake. That's what we do on the Star Wars Time Show, the Friday edition. So hopefully all of you have been entertained. Hopefully you've actually made it for the full 2 hours. If you had, we've got your Battle of Yavin medals ready to send to you. I know it's tough. I know intern Ryan says it's damn near impossible to listen to us for more than an hour. That's why we keep him at the intern rank. But in the end, we do hope you are getting some sort of enjoyment out of this. We have gotten some feedback back. We have implemented it, so keep it coming. Like I said, we're here. We're listening. Those of you that are listening and you want stuff that you think could make the show better, myself better, Nick better, Pete the Cat better, let us know. DM us on IG. That seems to be your favorite way to get in touch. But you can also reach us through StarWarsTime.net. All right, people? Let us know. How we doing? You liking this stuff? Our numbers are still looking good. They're still going up. We didn't do as many shows in May as we did in April, but our numbers are almost right there. I don't even think we did as many ads as we usually do. Numbers are staying up there, so that's a good sign. But we do rely on all of you to keep things growing because in the end, as much as Nick and I like doing this stuff, we do love it or we wouldn't do it. I mean, all this is free. No one's making any money. We're losing money. But we do need signs that we're doing something good, that people are listening, that people are subscribing, liking, rating, reviewing, all that stuff. So please, those of you that are listening for the first time or maybe the second, third time, if you have not liked, rated, reviewed on your podcast platform of choice, please do. You don't know how much that helps us. It is massive in terms of getting organic traffic to the podcast, to the site, to the YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channel, we're on there too, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Please, if you watch a video there, if you watch your cast there, like those casts. The more likes we get, the more chance we have them popping up in people's recommendations. So while we put our best foot forward, or at least our average foot forward, we ask those of you that are getting some form of entertainment out of this to, kind of do your part. Comment, engage, rate, review, share, promote, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your kids, tell your wife, right? We need the word out there. We need the love. You don't see our hands out, right? You don't see us begging for money. There's no Patreon bullshit baked into Star Wars Time yet.
Yes.
Yet. Probably never. I mean, you got to give me credit, Nick. I've been running another site for 10 years. I've yet to fucking stick my hand out for donations. True. I look at it as if enough people aren't coming here, then I'm not doing my fucking job. So why the fuck should I ask people to fucking pay me? But there are a lot of people out there smaller than us that are asking for payments. We're not. All we're asking for is your listenership, your loyalty, and maybe even your fealty at one point in time. And you know where you can pledge all that, and that's at StarWarsTime.net. That's where you can get all the subscription links to whatever medium you want to consume our content. And in fact, just go there anyways, because we'll put out throughout the week just random posts that we may not even talk about. So StarWarsTime.net, people, there's always time for Star Wars time. Get it in your head. There's even a little song. There's always time for Star Wars time. There's always time for Star Wars time. See, if you swing your arms around, it makes sense. All right, people, we love you. That's why we do what we do. Until next time, may the Force be with you, always.